Hello there everyone and welcome back to a brand new episode of Phantasy Star 2. In the last episode we started on the second act of the game. We went through and we opened up the control tower, simultaneously the most and least complicated dungeon of the game so far, with 69 teleporters lining every single wall of the building. But if you know the path, it was pretty straightforward. We then unlocked the first of the 4 dams that are the main meat of this act. The red dam, the shortest and simplest and easiest, least complicated of the lot of them. And in this episode, we are going to take on the next 2, the yellow dam and the blue dam. Quite frankly, I seem to be spending a lot of the time in this town, the town of Query, because not only have we started here for getting to Uzo Island and then Climate Troll, we also come back here for both of these dams. It is the easiest place to get to go forth from both of these dams. So, the yellow dam isn't hugely complicated to get to, as seems to always be the case. We leave Query, head down, go to our jet scooter. Unfortunately, we now are in a position where we are going to be fighting a lot of mecha enemies. These are the security forces of Palm. We are now officially fugitives of the law, so they're going to be all over the place, coming in and trying to arrest us or kill us. Frankly, who knows? We're not exactly begging to find out. We are going to enter our jet scooter, and then we are going to head north. We should, after a short while, find a canal. I believe this might be it. Let's have... okay, clearly not. Can't fit through it. There is. It's the wider canals we can fit through. We head through here, go underneath the dam, and soon enough we end up in the yellow dam. And I believe Anna has the key card to enter here. So if we go into her inventory, let's see, yellow card, yep. And thankfully, unlike a lot of the key items in this game, when we finish off using these key cards, it appears that they are removed from our inventory. So they're not taking up permanent inventory space. Right, now that we are in the dungeon proper, we are going to walk to the other side of the first floor. Bit of a trek, of course, but this game often is, especially in its dungeons. There's a reason that from the sound of it, pretty much every single re-release of the game comes with a turbo button, because it's a long walk, otherwise pretty much going anywhere. Now, most of our characters got a pretty nice damage upgrade in the... sorry, not most of our characters. One of our biggest characters, Rolf, the main hero of the game, got a nice damage upgrade in the last area, using the Sword of Anger. Anna, one of our other damage dealers, also technically got one with the Fire Slasher, but it's not quite as significant of an upgrade. And unfortunately, it looks like this boss is a bit tanky. Quite a bit of damage taken there. It looks like it does kind of a sweeping attack. We'll heal Rolf. Okay, I'll just go and heal everyone. It's very lucky that from the sounds of it, by the end of this episode, we will have unlocked an item that will make the healing process much, much easier and faster for us. So, that's at least a small compensation there. Furgammers, they're going to be nasty, aren't they? They're a pretty damaging lot. And, of course, immediately they're going to wipe out all of the healing progress I just made. So this will be fun. I'm going to re-heal all of that. Especially when our main damage dealer isn't actually landing an attack. Wonderful. Oh, great. Good thing that we have a Guy Res on hand. Come on, guys. Just get out of here. Please, go away. Oh, crying out loud. And as is typical with Phantasy Star 2, they get off one final really damaging attack before dying. That healing item just cannot come quickly enough. Point is, we are now going to go into this teleporter here, teleporter 1. We are going to then use that. We are going to go left through these corridors. Along this way, keep going left. We are going to ignore that teleporter. And we are going to head down here to grab our first chest. Ignore that teleporter as well. And wonderful, another eyesore, so that's going to take a ton of damage before it disappears. And I don't... Every so often, a character will just decide that now is the dungeon, that they're just going to miss all of their attacks. And it's typical that in this dungeon, it just happens to be Rolf, and it just happens to be against all of the most powerful enemies we're fighting here. Especially when Anna and Kane just aren't doing anything at all. You can see that, seeing that we started with like 60 TP, 66 TP or something like that, we're already burned most of it with Rolf, and we haven't even got to the first chest of the dungeon. You're going to go through this teleporter. That's going to lead us up here. Going to grab a Christinus. We are then going to give that Christinus, which is a powerful defensive item, equipable piece of armor. We are going to instead give that to Rudo, because he'll make better use of it than we will. To be fair, I wish there was a way that we could really make the enemies attack Rudo, because he is our tank, but it is what it is, I suppose. Check our defense. How does that change? Oh, 12 extra defense, not terrible. Alright, back down the way we came. So back through teleporter 2 and down to teleporter 1. Once again, we're ignoring this one. And then once we're down there, we can go through the dungeon as intended for a little bit. Come on. In the Climate Troll dungeon, we had a really nasty habit of entering fights right as we step through the teleporter, so at this point I'm a bit cautious every time we step through. We head down here, we grab an item in here. It's an escape pipe. Not hugely useful, to be entirely honest, but I mean, it's better to have it than to not have it, I suppose. But we can now continue along this way. We're heading over to teleporter 4, which is up here. Once again, I must thank Starfighters 76 for all of these maps, because they're incredibly useful, way better than anything that was available beforehand. They even label exactly which teleporters you can ignore and which ones are actually useful. So very, very good maps. I would recommend very highly you go and use them when you're playing through the game. Right, the Sonomechs, weirdly bulky. I don't remember them being that bulky in the last dungeon, nor do I remember their basic forms being particularly bulky, but for some reason, taking basically no damage from anyone. Eyesore takes just over 2 turns to get through, wonderful, dealing a ton of damage to everyone except Kane in the process. We are at least getting a fair bit of experience, but it's smaller. It's not exactly wonderful. I would rather just not get into the fight in the first place. Especially when I then have to go and spend time healing everyone. Definitely need to invest in just buying some more basic die mates and not just try mates. Right, we are now at teleporter 5. We are halfway through the dungeon. I would recommend, while you're here, going in quickly saving with the Visiphone. Just so that you're not having to go through all of that first half of the dungeon again if something goes wrong. I like to heal. I like to save, I should say, roughly every 5 floors. Just to make things go by a bit quicker. Something does very quickly snowball out to your favour. At the end of the day, we're not really in a huge amount of danger. We have so many trimates and we can buy so many more of them afterwards, so it's not even like they're a limited resource. It's just a case of... It feels kind of awkward using a trimate that fully heals a character and doing it for like 20 HP, but then very quickly in a fight that can snowball into them dying. So it's like, oh, who knows. Alright, that was teleporter 6. we just head straight down to teleporter 7. There's nowhere else for you to go at the end of the day. There's only one path forward, so just, you know, take the path. If I remember correctly, I think the reason the Rudo isn't dealing way less damage than other characters is because I don't think guns, which are the main weapon he uses, are affected by either his attack or an enemy's defense. I think they just do a flat amount of damage, which is why I think he's dealing so much damage to the Sonomech in comparison. I imagine it's a case where the Sonomech has a really high defense stat, but then really low HP. So the fact that Rudo isn't taken into account the defense stat means that he is actually dealing a load of damage to them. I'll just heal him up. I don't think we need to go and heal everyone. Alright, teleporter 7. Teleporter 7, we then exit this spiral. This top floor has a lot of kind of spiral patterns. So we can leave it. Bit of a lengthy one, because again, our characters walk like their feet are covered in molasses. Or I should say wading through molasses, I think is the saying. We need to go down to progress, but we're actually going to go up to grab a new weapon. Is it a new weapon? It's a new piece of armor for a party member that isn't actually in the party, but is always handy. We can always give it to them in between dungeons, so we'll grab it anyway. Mass Gamma finally gone. I think the Mass Gamma is the weaker variant, if I remember correctly, but could be wrong. Alright, who do we need to heal here? Rolf. Rolf needs a big load of healing here. Oh, and Anna needs healing as well. And Kane. Wonderful. Lengthy process altogether. I will say the fact that at least we're not grinding between dungeons like we were in the first act. We're just moving straight between them. So as much as it's still really annoying having to go through and have this really lengthy healing process every couple of fights, indeed even after every fight in some cases, at least it feels slightly better than before where we were just taking ages between dungeons as well. So we had this lengthy healing process constantly and we still weren't progressing. Alright, Twigmen. If they just do their basic attacks, they're not really much of a threat, but they do have a multi-party member targeting attack, so that makes things a bit more dangerous. And it seems they have quite high evasion. Oh, actually, maybe they are doing a lot of damage. They did a huge amount of damage to Rolf there. Hopefully not too tanky. I mean, their basic forms were pretty strong, especially the fact that one of our two main damage dealers isn't actually hitting their attacks. That makes things a bit more annoying as well. Well, actually, none of our damage dealers are hitting their attacks. Anna's constantly missing as well. Alright, took some time, but there we are. Rudo gains a level, good for them. We are luckily most of the way there, but from this point on I think we are just going to have to use Trimates to heal people because Rolf is getting pretty low TP wise and you want to make sure you have enough to use the Hinas ability to get straight out of a dungeon at the end of the encounter. That item we just got, the Crystal Cape, we want to give that to Anna. It's a good defensive upgrade for her. Don't want to use it. Apparently, the game does have gendered armor, so unfortunately, Rolf can't use it. We're going to have to give it to Anna instead. Crystal Cape, how much of defensive upgrade? Ah, okay, that's not much of anything at all. I thought it would be slightly better than that, to be honest. But the point is, if Rolf does want a defensive upgrade, he doesn't have to wait long because it's just at the end of this corridor. There is another teleporter, teleport number 9 that we go through. Go through here, grab this, and this is the crystal chest. And this one we can give to Rolf or Rudo. Seeing as Rudo just got his defensive upgrade just a moment ago, we're going to give it to Rolf. Especially because frankly he seems to be getting attacked far more often than Rudo is anyway, despite the fact that Rudo is supposed to be our tank. Crystal chest. Oh, that's a better defensive upgrade. 14 extra defense instead of something like, what was it, 6 for Anna? Okay, but point is, with that, we are now free to just walk to the end of the dungeon. We have gotten all of the loot. But these guys look pretty scary. The Polisiacs aren't much of anything, but I haven't seen a Cooley 61 yet, so this could be quite dangerous. Don't know how he's going to act. Okay, that wasn't a huge amount of damage to Rudo. That was like 15. That's not bad. Could definitely be worse. Anna's paralyzed. We can fix the paralysis, but I can't really be asked. It's a waste of a turn for our characters that could otherwise do a lot of damage. Good thing that Rudo didn't get hit, because he's, again, big damage dealer. I think we're probably good to leave Rudo for another turn to be healed. But we will heal. Actually, no, Anna can go a little bit longer, seeing as we're now using Trimates and we're nearly at the end of the dungeon anyway. We're going around this big loop. Or I should say around this spiral. We're going to go to a different spiral instead. And that's the one that leads to the final encounter. Maz, Gamma and Eyesore, wonderful. Come on. They kind of remind me of the tripods from a lot of War of the Worlds adaptations, to be honest. I don't know whether that's just me, but I imagine they probably based it off something, and that's just what I'm seeing. Again, Eyesore's kind of annoying that they take ages to get rid of. I got really excited when I saw Rolf was hitting 100 plus damage in the last dungeon, and now he's sitting here and he's barely doing anything. Because I guess the defense is just too high on some of these tankier enemies. Alright. Ooh, not far. We'll give it just a little bit longer before we start giving away Trimates to characters. This is the final spiral. Once we're through here, we can just teleport back out. No more teleporters, really. Okay, one more teleporter, but that teleports us right to the goal. So, that's fine at the end of the day. Another fight with a Maz, Gamma and an Eyesore? Wonderful. Why not? Get them out of the way. I wonder whether these are all based on toys or something. They give me that vibe, you know? Like in the same way that you can tell that some of the Doom weapons in the original Doom were scanned in from toys and fake guns and all the rest of that. And you can kind of tell just from the way they look. I get that feeling from this game as well, like looking at the Eyesores and stuff like that. I reckon that was probably some guy's toy that they scanned in. Or not scanned in, but they just traced and drew over to make the sprite. Right, and okay, fine, you can get a Trimate now, why not? I also need to sell some of her weapons. Right, Anna gets a Trimate. Rolf gets a Trimate as well. And we'll just use some of yours, because at the end of the day, we can just restock at the end of the dungeon anyway, so it's fine. Come on, just cool it on the random encounters. Again, we can do this, technically, to reset the encounter roll. But it's not like you can really tell what the, behind the scenes, what the game is looking like in terms of, is it going to go fire off a encounter now or something. Also, it just looks terrible. So, you know, at the end of the day, you do need to grind. Why not just go through some encounters? Right, yellow card, use it. Put the yellow card inside. That's permanently removes it from our inventory, but it does open the yellow dam. And that's it. That is the yellow dam completed. We're now free to use Hinas to teleport out. And then use Ryuka to teleport back to Paseo. Technically, we need to go back to Cueri to get to the blue dam, but I want to go and equip some things. I want to sell some things. I want to go and get some other party members into the party to go and offload items to them. So I'll see you guys back in Q area in just a moment after making some final preparations. Right then, we have returned. You can see that the party is a little bit different. Remember reading at the start of the guide that the person that you set to be first in your party is more likely to be attacked. I didn't necessarily see it that much when I took their advice and set Rudo as my party lead right at the start of the game, but I figured, why not? At the end of the day, we're sticking pretty much to this party from now on. Might as well try it out, you know? So, Blue Dam is pretty simple. We basically follow the path that we did last time with going to the Yellow Dam, except that when we get to the canal that took us there, we are instead going to go west, and it's pretty much directly in front of us. Mecha Man, again, not hugely dangerous, especially when Rudo's the one that gets to attack it. But seeing as he's the last one, he's just going to end up wasting the turn, most likely, to deal like the 2 damage remaining on the guy's HP, but whatever. I am liking the damage upgrades I'm seeing towards Anna. She is not only hitting multiple opponents, or can hit multiple opponents if there are multiple of the same kind, but also doing a fair amount of damage each time as well to individual opponents, so that's good. Whistle's not too dangerous. Pretty good source of experience as well. Especially when we are defeating them that easily, from the looks of it. Deal a tiny bit of damage to Kane, but that's fine. I can take 10 HP. I also stocked up on a couple more Trimates. I would have brought more Dimates, but I looked at it and I realised with the amount of money we have tens of thousands at this point, that we can spare the extra 100 Meseta just to get a full upgrade and guarantee success, even if, you know, sometimes it can be a bit overkill on occasion. We're at the canal. We now head due west. We're effectively crossing over from the left side of the map to the right side, hence why there is such a gap of empty water, because we're effectively hitting one map boundary and then going to the next map boundary. Get the whistle out of here. Technically, we should hope that characters are starting to level up to about level 17. Okay, Anna and Kane are a bit underleveled, but we'll just use the Visiphone when we enter the dungeon and see what level, how close they are to leveling up. End of the day, they're only slightly underleveled, and they do have the best possible gear. And we have stocked up again on just dozens and dozens of Trimates, so I think they should be fine. From the looks of the monster list that I'm seeing in the dungeon, it doesn't look like they're a huge step up from the last one. It just looks like there's more of them. And again, because we're traveling through the entire eastern side of the continent, the central lake is actually slightly to the west. So yeah, we just do have a bit of a trek to go before we actually get to where we need to be. Okay, I don't know why they all got to attack first. Oh great, they're going to attack again. Wonderful. Lovely. It's times like this, I'm really glad from the sounds of it that later Phantasy Star games take you up to 5 party members, because it would be great if we could just have Amy. I don't even need Amy to be like a useful party member, I just need her for a group healing spell to make things quicker. What are the states of everyone? Okay, we'll heal Rudo once. And then we'll use the Visiphone, save it, and then we'll get started on the dungeon. Anna and Kane, okay, they're nearly about to level up anyway, so it's not like they're super far behind. Rudo and Rolf are ages away, of course, but they always are, so who cares? Alright, this dungeon, pretty complicated. I think now Rudo is the one with the right key card. Blue card. Let's use that. In we go. Right, we technically need to go left to start on the dungeon proper. We are going to go down to this teleporter to grab ourselves the first chest. Not a hugely useful one. It's just an antidote. End of the day. Not really. Don't really need it. With most of the status effects in this game, it's better to just let the party member just kind of lose it over time. But whatever, man. We'll take it. Right, from here then, we are going to head towards where we were supposed to go to progress the dungeon. So that's exit this door, go left. We'll of course fight some more dangerous opponents now that we're in the dungeon proper. Dealing a lot of damage to Kane. Wonderful. Great, look like we'll be doing a lot of healing in this dungeon. And I should mention that this dungeon is something like 21 teleporters we're going to pass through as we progress. So quite the increase from the last one. From the sands we were teleporting a lot more often. So it's not, so there's, you know, less distance between each teleporter, but even so, that's like a, great, that's going to take ages, isn't it? One final attack, of course, because they are an enemy in Phantasy Star 2. They just have to get off that one final attack before they die. Just to tip a character over the edge where you feel like you do need to heal them, actually. Right, there we are. Healing over, of course. Great. Head up to Teleporter 2. Teleporter 2 is pretty simple. It's just a corridor over to Teleporter 3. But we do have to get into a fight before we can get there against a wirehead. Again, like I said in the last episode, scary opponent. I don't like the look of them. Considering that they have been deployed to this planet, they have to be able to move somehow, and I don't like to imagine that thing crawling around on its tentacles. Scary thought. Again, everyone doing the flat route of nothing to this eyesore. But eventually it'll go down. Come on. Get it over and done with. We'll have to go heal Kane. Wonderful. We'll just do it the once. Again, at the end of the day, we'll just burn through trimates if needs be. Teleporter 3, there we go. Teleporter 3 will take us up to the 3rd floor, where we will travel. Where are we traveling? Missing. Okay, I see. We're going to travel up towards the next teleporter to progress, but we are not actually going to take that teleporter. We're going to progress a little bit further on to the next one. Right, who's damaged? I don't think they've actually fired off an attack. Okay. Okay. Anna and Kane pretty damaged. It's typical that we go and stick our tank in the lead with the idea that they start, you know, tanking more damage. And all of a sudden, no one bothers. People start attacking them and they just can't land the hit. I didn't even think Rudo was that evasive. Come on, get this over with. There we are. Hopefully they should nearly be at a point where they level up. But just another set of healing for Anna and Kane. Of course, they always gotta have that healing. Right. Okay, so we are progressing down this way. Going around this corner. We'll enter that room later on. There's also a pit that we'll be dropping down if we were to bother exiting the dungeon traditionally, but as always, we'll just teleport ourselves out. At mech. Is that going to be attack mech sorted? They're going to be another one of that group that no one deals any damage to except Rolf, isn't it, aren't they? Except, unfortunately, Rolf is no longer able to one-shot them, which makes things annoying. Sorry, Rudo. I'm getting confused now. Again, the game drops. If you go and name your character as they are officially called, which is Rolf, the game drops two very similar names that begin with R right next to each other, right at the start of the game, and you just go, wait, who's who? Just in your head, you just look at the UI and you go, okay, so I'm looking at this guy, and then you just realize, oh great, got it wrong, wonderful. Although finally, they did actually bother attacking Rudo, so we can go and use some of our trimates. Justifiably so. I think everyone else... We'll go heal him. Right, there we are. Up through this door to this teleporter. That's a teleporter's back down the floor, I believe. And we go and take it along here. Go down. Okay, one final encounter with a wirehead and an ice sword before we reach the chest, I guess. It's got a nice, powerful piece of armor in it. And that's actually the piece of healing item. That's the healing item that will actually make healing a lot faster in the future from the sounds of it. So we definitely want to be using it. I think we'll probably equip it on Rolf. From the sounds of it, it doesn't have a huge amount of defense. It isn't like a bonus to defense compared to what we'll already have equipped on him. But it's got a handy extra technique. It's the first introduction to a new kind of armor. So we'll just quickly give that to Rolf, and then I'll equip it and we'll see and try and use it. Rolf, please equip the Cressigear. Huh, okay. I guess he can't use it. The guy didn't stipulate that there were any limitations. Give to Rudo then, I guess. We'll see whether he can use it, but I kinda doubt it, to be honest. Oh, he can use it. Okay, I guess. But now if we... Okay. If we go onto Rudo's inventory and we grab the Cressigear and use it... Huh. Okay, so the idea of the Cressigear is that whoever uses it in battle, it will throw out a Girez technique on them. So I guess Rudo is now a lot more tanky because he's going to be healed a lot. I kind of hoped you'd be able to use it outside of battle as well, but apparently not. Alright, I guess we'll just use some Dimates then on, Trimates on Rolf and Anna. Because Anna has gained a lot more HP than I realised. Apparently there are certain levels in the game. When a character reaches that level, and it changes depending on the characters, they get a big boost in their stats, much far further beyond what they typically would. And I think that that's probably where some of this confusion comes in, when suddenly I'm looking at a character and all of a sudden they're way stronger than they used to be. I think that's the case, that they've kind of hit one of those power levels and all of a sudden they're much stronger than they used to be. The point is, we'll head back to the teleporter here. I don't really want to get into an encounter before we get to the next floor, so we'll use that reset encounter rate trick to enter the teleporter. And we'll quickly save because we have got into teleporter number 5. There's a lot more of them to go, but it is what it is. And, you know, characters have leveled up. We have got new pieces of gear, so we do want to make sure that we're not losing that should something go wrong. Because, again, we are fighting a tough group of enemies here. Right, teleporter number 5 goes to teleporter number 6, funnily enough. It's a pretty simple teleporter. Right, let's see how this works. The way that the guide specifies how the new helmet works is a bit odd. They say uses it. I don't know whether that just means it's constantly throwing out a Girez technique every turn that character acts, or whether you have to go into your inventory and then press the item there. We'll find out in the course of the battle, I reckon. Probably not against these guys, seeing as Rudo is the only opportunity we have to deal any decent damage to them. Although actually they have dealt... Oh, come on guys, please hit them. Right, I think we're just going to have to get Anna to use a Trimate herself. I was kind of hoping we'd be able to try it out here, but they're getting a bit too damaged. I don't want them to suddenly die if the enemies keep firing out group attacks and Rudo doesn't bother attacking. Although I did miss that Kane's also getting quite low, so that's something. Oh, balls, please don't kill Kane. I guess we'll try things out now. Krezagear, if we use that. Does it just fire it off on the target that owns it? That's kind of annoying. I was kind of hoping that you'd be able to like choose who gets the benefit, but whatever, man. And finally people actually go down. Wonderful. Okay, so maybe the healing technique isn't as revolutionary as I hoped it would be. That's kind of annoying. Kane, go use one of your Trimates to heal yourself up. In fact, everyone's going to need Trimates. Great. Lengthy dungeons, just because of the amount of healing you're having to do in between areas. Right, we just travel down here. There is a chest literally on the path. Can't miss it. That's the Storm Gear. The Storm Gear is only equipable by Kane and isn't any stronger than the Titaniumet that he's already using. And I have followed the guide, so he is using that. But it will throw out a Gizan technique when used in battle. So apparently, this is actually a massive upgrade, because all you have to do now is, instead of letting Kane attack, you just set them up to use the Gizan technique each turn. And that makes things go by a lot faster. So I think Rudo grabbed it. Yep. Give to Kane, please. And Kane, go and equip it. Again, it's no stronger, but it lets him use a technique basically every turn now. So, big upgrade on that front. Through the teleporter. Don't fall down any of these pits yet. There's a specific one you need to fall down. Right, strategy, order, Rudo, get back to attacking. Kane, go use your new Storm Gear. I think that's how you set them to use it. I guess we'll find out in just a moment. Finally, Rudo is actually affecting enemies. There we are. Big upgrades. Like that a lot. Thank you, Kane. Not quite enough to let us wipe the floor with the attack mech next turn, but Rudo puts in one final shot and they go down. There is another chest on this floor, which is why we don't want to drop down any of the pits yet. This gives us the colour scarf. And we want to equip this to Anna. It's actually more powerful than her current headgear, but also it allows her, like all of the other items in this dungeon, to throw out a technique when she uses it. So, to be honest, Anna's not really one that I've felt the need to use any sort of techniques on. She has a bunch that buff herself, but they're not really worth the not attacking on that turn. To be fair, there's not that many techniques that are worth not attacking on a turn. So that was number 8. believe we dropped down to the 3rd floor. Yeah. Snow Crown. That's equipable by Amy, but I am going to give it to Kane just to make sure that Rudo's inventory isn't filled up. Again, in between episodes, I'll equip it to her. Anyway, we continue along the corridor to teleporter number 9. Number 9 takes us down to the 2nd floor again, and it's just a straight walk up to number 10. And there's no gear to collect on the way. And luckily, Kane sticks to his programmed technique in between fights, which is very good for us because it means we're not going to have to sit there and force him to change it each time. And the other thing is it's actually more powerful than the standard technique because it lets him attack every enemy in an encounter, not just the one type of enemy, which is, I believe, how the standard technique works. So it's actually an even bigger upgrade than it looks like, because it's actually an even more upgraded version of the technique to begin with. Eyesore eventually goes down. We'll give Rolf a trimate, especially because he's just hit a new HP maximum. That's good. We are burning through our trimates at this point, I think, but again, we have so many of them that I'm not that worried about eventually running out. But anyway, teleporter number 10. We'll save, as I said, every 5 teleporters, just to make sure that we're not losing progress. You can see the ridiculous amount of experience we need to level anyone up. You can see why grinding was such a miserable experience between dungeons in the first act of the game, because it was the same story there. It wasn't like they were any nicer there. A bit of a lengthy trek to teleporter number 11, but it's effectively still just a straight corridor. There's not really many places you can branch out and go the wrong way. And it takes a fair amount of damage. We'll have to heal her in the next... after this encounter, I reckon. Again, I would show you her new technique, but it's really not worth the damage. And I'll be honest, I think that the technique is powerful enough that even when fighting a single opponent, I think it's still probably better off if we keep Kane using it, because it's just that much of an upgrade. Trimate on Anna, please. There we are. Could probably heal up Rudo as well, but we don't need to. Whitehead and an eyesore, wonderful. I think we took about, what, 5 steps there before walking into these guys? Kind of ridiculous. But we just leave them be, and eventually they'll take the damage. Great, we're going to need to go and heal everyone again after the fight. Such fun. Fun, fun, fun. Right, be back in a moment. Right, healed up. Continuing along to teleporter 11. Oh, come on, just let me get there, please. I don't want to fight you guys anymore. You're all boring. You're such a boring set of enemies. You look kinda cool, but then fighting you guys is just nothing. Get out of here. All you do is make me sit there and heal everyone else up after each fight. You don't do anything interesting beyond that. You're just tedious. I think I probably need to, as much as I say I've got tons of trimates, I think I do probably need to be a bit better with them. Am I going the right way? No, I've broken off just a little too early. This way and then along. Don't want to get into any more fights on this floor, so use the resetting enemy encounter rate technique just every couple of steps. I don't think they can fight you immediately on the off, but just doing that every now and then will get you out of at least a couple of encounters. But anyway, teleporter 12 will take us up to this chest. With a wind scarf. I don't know whether anyone really needs to equip this for now. Let's see, wind scarf, does anyone have it? It's used by Sia the Thief. Okay, so someone that we haven't really put in our party at all. But it does throw out a pretty decent technique when you use it. So I suppose if we do ever use Sia again, this is a situation where it comes in handy. Anyway, teleporter 12 up to teleporter 13. Another easy walk. Okay, well, we had gone pretty lucky without a fight for a while. These guys do look pretty gnarly, so this could go poorly, especially if people miss their attacks. Oh, that's... Oh, yeah, very nasty. Definitely a good thing that we were avoiding fights, because that's huge amounts of damage. Oh, I'd like you to disappear now. Come on, get out of here, please. Why are you so tanky and so damaging? Oh, great, that's another load of healing. It shouldn't be this long and tedious. Oh, right, there we are. Up to 13. Get a bit more on the whole no enemies please technique. Now, teleporter 13 leads us just to another corridor. Nothing particularly interesting from the looks of it. We're just heading up here, avoiding at least a couple of enemies like this. It's not a particularly interesting walk. There's no diversions for any loot or anything. It's just a big long walk up until you eventually hit the teleporter. That's teleporter 14. And again, another boring walk over to teleporter number 15. Although we should get a view. Perhaps not because of how limited the camera is. But that platform surrounded by the pits is our final destination. We're going to need to drop down from a higher floor to it to get there. But all the while we do progress, and we are in the last kind of quarter of the dungeon now, so small victories. Save one last time, and then from that point on we're just heading to the end of the dungeon. It is good for you to get rid of my save file, or overwrite it I should say. Teleporter 15, pretty simple walk to that teleporter there. I'll be honest, this whole trick kind of cheeses the game, but I don't care. There's our goal in the corner there. That's the same monitor that we've been reaching in all of the other dungeons, but now it's just a case of getting there without fighting too many other enemies, because I did check in the last battle healing, we are getting quite low on heal, so I don't want to use them all up unnecessarily. Get into another fight, but it is just against a single enemy, so it shouldn't be too bad. Rodhead. That's a terrible name, I'm so sorry. At least it's one that doesn't have crazy high defense, so you just get really demotivated looking at how crap everyone's attack numbers are. Well, that wasn't too bad of a fight, I'll take that. Right, this is teleporter number 17. Teleporter number 17. Another easy one. If you don't walk straight into it, that is. Again, they do sometimes put you in a bit of an inconvenient place when you leave a teleporter. Who are these guys? Attack mechs. Kind of annoying, but not too terrible. Maybe we'll need to heal Anna, but that's not too bad. It could be worse. At the end of the day, that should just be a single res if we can kill them pretty quickly. If Kane would bother attacking, that is, we could kill them pretty quickly, but apparently he can't be asked. Is that going to get rid of them? It's going to get rid of at least one of them. Come on, hit the attack. Yes. Alright, we'll heal Anna. We'll stick her with a res. Honestly, these dungeons, they get pretty boring pretty quickly. Very samey tile set. I've been reading up on the original Phantasy Star, and I'll be honest, it seems like they were doing more interesting things with the dungeon in that game, with hardware a decade older than it. Decade older than the Genesis. So it's like, is this really the best you could do? There's the whole story about the really overzealous designer coming in and doing these crazy dungeons, but it's like, I'm not falling for it, you know. Right, we need to go left here to progress, but we are going to quickly drop down to teleporter 19 to grab the final item of the dungeon. What is it? Star Mist. Very powerful healing item. We want to save it. We did technically have one earlier, but I accidentally used it when all of our characters had pretty much full HP. That was terrible. They're really rare. You either have to get Sheer to go and steal them, or I think you can buy them, but only right at the end of the game. It's kind of ridiculous. Okay, we are nearly here though. That was the final teleporter, but there is one last pit we need to drop down. This is the point in the game where they start introducing these pit puzzles, where not only are you having to find the right teleporter to use, but you also need to find the right place with these pits to drop down to reach something on the floor below you. Okay, one final enemy encounter, whatever. We're kinda low, but I don't think low enough that we need to worry too much about what goes on here. Especially as I think Rudo's the one that needs to survive. He is, at the end of the day, the tankiest. It'd be kind of unfortunate if he's the only one that actually gets hit, but, you know, what can you do? 7 damage, come on. 6 damage, oh, it hurts. It really does hurt. Okay, that should be nearly it, though. Maybe a few more attacks, one more attack. There we are. Got there eventually. Get a nice bit of experience, Meseta. We drop down the pit, and what do you know? We are at the monitor. Place to put the card in. I actually need to use the card. Blue card. Use it. Dam locks open and rushing water is heard. There we are. That is another dungeon complete. Now, on this final part, we only really have a single dungeon left. It's the Green Dam, which is the hardest, but from the looks of it, it's more because of the enemies rather than the dungeon itself. From the looks of it, that just then was the hardest dungeon in terms of layout and stuff, getting here, there, and everywhere. But the Green Dam, it seems like it's just the enemies, so it could be a good fight. It shouldn't be as tedious as that was, at the very least. Now, in between episodes, all I'm going to do is go and equip some items to the correct characters, you know, heal up and all the rest of that, but probably in a few days' time, we'll get to the Green Dam, and we'll finish off the second act of the game. Much faster than the first act, thank goodness. But that will be it for today, so I'd like to say thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, but tune in next time. For now, adios and ciao.